welcome to the She Show with your hosts, Josie and my pal,
Lulu.
And Lulu's going to kick us off for us this episode with a pet peeve. What you got, Lulu?
Pet peeve, yes. A pet peeve of mine is I do yard work, and then the next day, or 2 days, or 3 days, my knuckles are so swollen in my right hand that I am peeved. I am PO'd. And, you know, my Aunt Anna, who I talk about a lot because she was such a character, was also a comedian and had some great little jokes. And one of her jokes was, I go to bed with arthritis, and I wake up with Ben Gay. And that's me. So, you know, the curse of being old is take away arthritis, please.
So pet peeve is really arthritis.
Pet peeve is arthritis. It shouldn't exist. That's it. I got nothing else.
I like it. I don't have a pet peeve today.
Ooh, you're Miss Positivity.
I'm gonna be positive and abstain from complaining.
All right.
Until we get into the show.
Joe. All right, Miss Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, I got something. I got something under the old stuff you can't make up.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so it's got to do with a recent article I read about Paul McCartney, who was a member of the Beatles, as you older people will remember, you know, says he is going to release a new Beatles song that he used AI or artificial, whatever that is.
Intelligence.
Thank you. Technology to take John Lennon's voice from an old demo and re-record this song that he did 10, 20 years ago. Okay? Mm-hmm. So AI, artificial intelligence. All right? Mm-hmm. What's your feeling about that? Because it's kind of freaky to me.
Drum roll, please.
There you go. It's freaky.
I guess AI is my pet peeve. I lied.
AI is your pet peeve. All right. Well, you know.
Or the applications of it lately, I guess, would be my pet peeve. So to your article, I too read an article. This came out back in April about Formula One race driver Michael Schumacher. Now, when I was a teen and I'd go visit my mother and my stepfather on summer vacation, he was very into Formula One racing. And so my brother, my stepfather, and I would watch it together. And we'd each pick a driver. You know, one of us is Michael Schumacher, somebody else, I forget their names. I should have prepared that better, but Alex Zanardi, that just came to me. Okay, so anyways.
Zanardi.
Yeah, so we all picked these drivers. So I watched him. He was really good. He retired in, I think it was 2012, and he had a really terrible skiing accident in 2013 that caused severe brain damage. Since then, he has been out of the public eye and private with his family, and a German tabloid, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Die Aktuelle, Aktuelle. I don't know how to pronounce that in German.
Aktuelle.
Aktuelle.
Oh.
Actually?
Actually.
Sure. I like it.
I'll just make it Greek. It's all good.
So what they did was they released a interview with Michael Schumacher. And splashed all over their tabloid, first interview in the public since 2013, et cetera, completely generated by AI. I take real offense at people using AI for personal gain or tricking the public into thinking they got the perfect story. I just don't understand what's wrong with people's morals.
Well, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because along with that is, you know, they're saying lately they're preying on older people, not me because I ain't old, but, you know, they are doing it by, you know, they can find one of your children's voices and clone the voice and call and say, I heard or read this somewhere. Call grandma or mom and say, "I'm in trouble. I need money. I'm at the," and it sounds just like your kid.
Yeah, that's not even fake. That actually happened to my family. My grandmother.
Happened to your family?
Yes, my grandmother, I mentioned in a previous episode that passed in 2020. She was starting to have some confusion towards the end, and she got one of those phone calls from what she thought was my brother, saying that he was in jail and that he needed bail money to get out, and she was so upset. She called my mother. My mother was at work and couldn't answer the phone. She tried to call my brother. He was at work, so he didn't answer. So I ended up getting a flurry of phone calls that afternoon asking if I'd heard this, if it was true. I was like, whoa, 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 everybody slow down. Like, you would know if he was in jail.
Yeah.
You would have heard from us directly, not some strange phone call about needing bail money. But, she was older and she was confused, and she really believed that it was him that had called her. And it was really sad. It was awful.
It's sad. It's sick. It's disgusting. And, I'm running out of adjectives I can use on air. But it's terrible.
Well, and that's just
terrible thing.
One application. So we just talked about using it to recreate somebody's voice for a song. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think that John Lennon would be okay with this?
Probably because he's taking the original recording, the demo, and I guess using parts of that and then adding on to it so they can finish the song. That's not dangerous to me because he's saying the truth. It's like you said, he's not lying about it. He said, "I'm going to release a song and it's John's voice, but it's AI." There are good things people love. Like, my sister got from her kids, gave her one of those robotic vacuum cleaners. And they watch it go around the house. It's like the new entertainment. Yeah, it's like I'm not into that because I'm not into any of that. It's like, there's computers in there, and they're listening. I'm sorry, I'm going back to that. It's like, why I don't have Alexa or any of those things. We get enough on the TV, We're all controlled by it. If you have Netflix, if you have any kind of, if you've signed up for anything. For instance, I watch a series called Firefly Lane. You and I talked about that,
love
right?
That show.
And it stars
Katherine Heigl.
And
Sarah Chalk.
And the next day, I'm on my Facebook, and I got all kinds of Katherine Heigl stuff.
Oh, that's creepy.
Because that's what they use it for. That's it. You sign your life away. Once you get on Netflix or Facebook or anything, you have to say, "I give them permission to blah, blah, blah." And that's what they use it for, to concentrate ads towards you by what you're watching, by what you're listening to, by anything like that. So, yeah, you're being spied on and you're being targeted.
Yeah, I have a problem with that as well. So, you can take some control of that. For example, as we've discussed, I canceled Amazon Prime. I canceled Netflix. I have no streaming services whatsoever anymore.
That's one way to get rid of them.
Facebook, I do still have. I primarily use it to post things about our business that we share together here and work together. Other than that, I'm not really sharing a whole lot. So that's like one method of control. But the AI that really frightens me is all this technology that's being used to make art or to make music, as you just said, or for children to use to write their papers, and you just plug it into a machine and it spits it back out at you. And I feel like it's a dumbing down of our society.
Absolutely.
And that's really problematic and scary.
Well, it's like sci-fi, the beginning of sci-fi, and you can imagine the rest, fill in the blanks. What's going to happen in 10, 20 years? Who's going to control us? Well, the computers what is that movie? The computers take over the world.
The Terminator movies. And it's so funny you just said that, because when you were talking about the Roomba vacuum, I saw the funniest meme and I laughed so hard. There's this poor lady. She's lying on the ground. She was taking a nap or something. and she has this really long hair, and her Roomba was roaming around. You know where I'm going with this. It sucked up her hair. And so there's a crew of people trying to remove the Roomba from this lady's hair, and she's laying on the ground. And below it, there's a picture of the Terminator, and it said, "This is the first step," or something like that. It was so funny.
Yeah, I mean, how far-fetched is that?
It's not. It's
It's
really
not.
not.
The computers are going to take over.
Well, they're putting it in cars too. So obviously we have self-driving cars right now, but they're building chips now, so the car can kind of communicate back to you using AI
Oh,
technology.
great. There's another way to target you by what you're listening to on the radio, by what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they make it sound
How
cool.
you drive or...
They're like, oh, like the Batmobile or Knight Rider.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I
have
don't want
this.
any of that crap. None of it. Zero.
It's really concerning to me that we're going to rely so heavily on AI for stuff that we should be able to use our creativity to do. Like, so the argument is that it's helpful, right? They're using AI chip implants, and they're experimenting on humans at this point.
Come on.
I'm not even lying.
Why would they put a chip in you?
To help with things like Parkinson's or other dementia and things like that. They seem to think that they'll be able to create a neurotransmitting device of some kind that can alleviate symptoms and problems. So like in a health point of view, I think that's really great. It's helping the human condition, right? So that's positive. I think when we use it to take music, interviews, stories, art, anything that we as humans are unique at producing in a creative sense, and we eliminate that and we let fake technology do that, we're losing a piece of our humanity. That sounds extreme, but...
I don't know. It's out there. It's out there. Like maybe it's helpful in some ways, but it's like anything else. Does the good outweigh the bad? That's the question. Mm-hmm. It's like a relationship. You stick with somebody, because the good outweighs the bad. Or if you're really stupid, you just stay regardless and get tortured the rest of your life. But you got to make that decision. Mm-hmm. For me, I don't want any, what I can control is no Alexas, no, nothing in my house that's listening to me. Even like, who knows, electronic doorbells and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's recording devices.
Right.
You can record your video. So that's another way of, storing information about people. They don't even know about it. That's it. We don't know the half of it.
I know.
Who knows?
So the argument then becomes, is AI technology, more beneficial and helpful than having drawbacks and negative uses? And is the issue really that we don't have enough regulation and people are just running amok?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because there are a couple of Democrats, I think it's in the House, that are trying to propose some legislation for artificial intelligence. It's in the news every day because it is a problem, especially for, really young people. Those of us who are aware, maybe not so much, but still it's the same thing. When, YouTube or Spotify or any one of those things can decide what to show you or anything else because they're monitoring every social media post. Kids are doing social media. Mm-hmm. Me, no, you not much, right?
Right.
You use it for business, but that's what kids are doing, okay? So that's it. They're being controlled, monitored, manipulated, and that's the concern. So that's what the Democrats are trying to do up on the Hilly, and who knows, this day and age, it probably won't go anywhere because it's going to lead me to the deregulation Republican thing. It's like, yep, Democrats regulate, Republicans don't like it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I guess they go along with things like, helping, if we didn't have regulation, we'd all be dead. because your water would be contaminated. And it's true. There wouldn't be any, restrictions on what chemicals are released in the water. We've got something right here in Plymouth.
Right,
You
with
know what I mean?
the
Yeah.
whole tech.
Yeah, they want to. What is it exactly?
They want to.
It's the plant, right?
The plant is closed and the cooling rods are on site, and they want to dump the water from that into the bay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kill a bunch of more cod that don't exist in the because they're gone.
Cape, just Cape, no cod.
Codfish. But so what's that about? So it's not, it was like, wasn't there something released, you have a better memory than me, released from an environmental protection agency that said it's not a good thing, but they can go along with it anyway?
Okay, so that I know of for the proposed machine gun range. I'm not sure what they said about the whole tech. Whole tech claims the amount that goes in is like negligible.
Of course they're going to claim that. They always claim, hey, it's not going to kill you. There's like, only 42% of pesticide in your food. Eat it. It's good for you. What the hell? What? Who comes up with what percentage is okay?
Well, so you get me thinking about it. Back to the AI thing. So
I'm troubling. I'm
No,
troubled
but
today.
here's what we do as humans, and we've always done this. We create something new. We're all jazzed about it, right? And everybody just runs out and starts using it. We don't have like foresight to think ahead and say, where is this going to go? What's the ultimate gain here? And should we set up some sort of protections before we just start throwing it out there? We never do.
Because it's money.
Yeah.
Because the people that come up with it, are tech people, and then some big conglomerate company sees that. That's how we got Facebook. Facebook was supposed to be like, people sharing data. It became a business vehicle, in a way, an advertising vehicle. Now every company is using it. I don't know, Twitter not so much, but Facebook is, it's huge.
Right.
It's huge, but the intent was supposedly for people to share stuff.
Well, actually, going back to when it started, so I was a college student when it started. The intent was just for college students only to basically have a virtual yearbook. It was years later that it opened to the public as a place to share with friends and family and do updates as like a alternative to MySpace, which I also had one of those as well.
Whatever happened to MySpace?
I think MySpace disappeared. I don't hear
it went
anything about
bye-bye.
it. Yeah, I think it did.
It did.
Facebook pushed it out, I think.
Yeah, well.
It was easier than MySpace. You had to learn a little bit about HTML coding if you wanted to create your own
Nobody
unique
wants to think.
page. That's back to my point about AI. It's the same thing. We're allowing technology to think for us and plan for us. And, there's like warnings. They're like, don't use the AI chat or, Google whatever to write your story. Just, take some ideas that it generates and proofread it and then fill in. And people aren't doing that. They're just copy and pasting whatever it spits out.
Well, I will say one good thing, especially for one of my sisters who has about the worst sense of direction in the entire world. And if you're going to, downtown Boston, she'll take you to New York. It's, you have to keep an eye on her. I have to go with her because we never know. And what saved her is what is that thing in the car that
GPS.
Thank you. You know me. My brain doesn't work half the time. Yeah. So GPS is something most people look at me. Do I have GPS? Ask me the question.
Do you have GPS?
No, because I'm an old-fashioned. I look it up, map, write it down, and I'm there. And I have a good sense of direction, though. I can find myself pretty much out of anything.
And I could be wrong here, but even that feels different than the AI we're talking about, the emerging AI. Because GPS is satellite-based. We've had satellites since
But the lady
80s.
talks to you. You can pick the lady, you can pick the guy.
So you're talking about like Siri or whatever.
Well, that's what GPS is. They talk to you. They
I
go,
don't
take
have
a
that.
left.
No, I have GPS maps with no voice. And
Oh,
just,
so you use the map. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm talking about the voice that talks to you
okay.
in your car while you're driving, which is tremendously annoying after a while.
So like the
because-
Garmins and things like that.
The what?
The Garmin, that was like the prototype. Before everybody had the built-in LCD panels in their SUVs and cars, you had to buy the little Garmin device where you put it on your dashboard and it will talk to you and give you the directions and stuff.
Right.
But even that isn't quite the same as what's emerging.
No, what's emerging but who knows? Who knows what is really happening with that device and what they're hearing, listening to, whatever, getting used to who you are, capturing your voice. How do we know?
I don't know.
We don't know. You don't know.
We're going to sound like a couple of paranoid ladies
We're
here.
paranoia. Well, who the heck wants to be? I have friends who are in the broadcast business who are very highly technically oriented, and they love it. Mm-hmm. Everything that comes up, every new toy or whatever they have, and all I can think of is, why would I want somebody to put more stuff than already exists in my house?
So it's funny listening to you speak about that. So my husband, the shower curtain bandit we've discussed in the past, he's definitely against like Alexa
Is he?
And all of that. We don't have any of that
But
in
he's
the
a
house.
computer geek.
Yep, and he's very tech oriented. Me, on the other hand, I'm not really concerned that people are interested in me at all. Like, I don't give a hoot if they think they're listening to me. Like, I don't say that many interesting things.
That's because you're clean cut and not dangerous.
As
So
far as
nobody's
we
going to
know.
go after you and arrest you for what you say. You can't even say anything like, against certain past presidents. Vladimir Putin, those kind of, people who are going to come after you and kill you.
Right. Yeah.
Especially Vladdy.
I guess I understand the fear there. I just feel like there's so many people, what are we, 8 billion people on the planet or whatever it is, that out of them, they couldn't find someone more interesting to spy on than me. That would be alarming to me.
All right. Well, I hope I never get a phone call from you that says, Lulu, bail me out. They arrested me. I'm at the Kremlin. I hope that never happens.
So I just really come at it more from I'm less concerned about people taking my data, spying on me, throwing ads at me. And I know they do all those things. I hear what you're saying. I'm more concerned about artificial creativity. I have a real problem with novels being published, with music being written, with paintings being done that is done by a computer and not by a human.
Yeah, well, it's fake. It's not.
Well, it's fake. It loses like emotional resonance to me. Like part of being human and communicating.
Well, it's kind of cloning. To me, it's cloning.
It is cloning.
It is. It's taking some original art or whatever and simulating it and creating your own stuff.
And some of it's really good. Like it's a pretty good replica. But a lot of it, if you take the time to look at it, you're like, whoa, what's wrong with this? And it's missing.
Yeah, it's like cloning.
Yeah.
You clone a human being or an animal, the sheepy, the sheep person. Who was the sheep? I forget the sheep's name.
It was like 96 or 97.
But
I don't
then
remember.
they go all kinds of like bent, not a shape, and 10
Extra
hearts,
legs and things, yeah.
2 heads and stuff. So
right.
who
So
knows?
if you look closely, you can see it's a fake, right? Like you said, it's a clone, it's a replica. Do you think that people look closely? And now here's where I get a little political. We were talking about, our former.
Josie's getting political.
I know. I shy
me.
away. I shy away. I have a problem with, we'll use sheep. There are so many people in our society that don't think or read or investigate things for themselves and are just right on board with what they hear and see in the news or online on YouTube, and that's it. That's the end of exploration and finding out. So I guess my fear comes from that, knowing how our society behaves, that AI is suddenly going to be accepted as quality product. And that's troublesome to me as a creative person who makes things, who does stuff with photography, videography, I crochet, I'm a creative person. I write.
Yeah.
To think
the writing thing especially.
Well, and to think that some bot is going to produce some national bestseller pisses me off. I just don't agree with that.
Well, that's why the artistic community has always been like out there, protesting, and it's the truth. So they can keep their integrity of who they are, their originality of who they are. But this stuff is gonna,
So we're talking
change
about
everything.
Quality, right? So you and I have an eye for a quality product in our line of work. We're both in broadcast, have been doing it a long time. We know quality versus somebody just grabs their cell phone and shoots a video and puts it up, right? We distinguish between the two.
That's acceptable now.
And that's my
There's
point.
no nothing. Everything goes.
Right.
Crazy movement. I mean, there is that, but it's a weird thing, and I don't want to get into it. But it's like doing handheld or anything. There's an art to doing handheld, professionally, and people who do it really well. You can tell by the smoothness of it. It's just was meant to be like reality. Okay, but anything goes. You can cut somebody's head off, put them on the screen. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So yeah, this is where we're heading. It's like you said before. It's the dumbing down of America.
Yes.
Oh God, I'm gonna get on the old soapy box again. I'm sorry, but who the heck is reading? Who's writing? Who's writing? Can you write? Even I find myself by texting. Okay, using short little things, LOLs, this and that, emojis, and all of that. I'm losing my ability to write. Now, I wrote professionally.
Right.
Okay? I've written many scripts for broadcast television. I can't even write a sentence without wondering if I'm spelling something right.
That's funny that you say that. So I don't write. So I have a journalism degree. Talk about writing. I had to do magazine writing and newspaper writing and broadcast, all kinds of writing just to get my piece of paper from my university saying I can write. So I did that. And now just composing a simple email might take me a half hour because I keep rereading and refocusing on what I just written. Like, is this acceptable today? Am I using enough emotion to convey what I'm trying to say, or someone going to misread my words? I just feel like there's such a heightened sensitivity.
Topic.
Yeah, so like your text messages, for example. I too use a lot of emoticons because if I don't, and I'm texting and it's short, clipped fragments, I don't want the person to take the wrong meaning from what I'm trying to say. So I'm like over explaining myself, and I find I do that in like an email as well because I have so much concern about the level of sensitivity in our society when we're saying stuff.
Yeah, well, email to me is like brief and to the point, because if you start to get too much into it, you just said it. You can read an email over and over again, and then you can take whatever you want. Nobody's saying, "Good morning, Josie. I thought I'd tell you that I had just a little witty bit of a problem when you said blah, blah, blah yesterday." Okay? And you read it and you go, "Good morning, Josie. I have a problem from what you said to me yesterday."
It's angry. It's me.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Because there isn't any personal delivery. And I go back to the fact that I don't like to text a lot. My texts are short. I'm not going to write dialogues. People write dialogues and text to me. It's like, "Could you call me?"
Right.
Because now I have to answer you. So 9 times out of 10, I'll call them back, and they're like, "Oh, what's up? What's up? I'm back and forth texting you, and it's something I could talk to you about in 2 minutes."
Right. And get the conveyance of the feeling.
So
of the
when
emotion.
did it become bad to talk to people?
Well, I don't know. See, and
You
that's...
people out there, if you're out there, hey, Are you out there? Anybody home? Email. The email's going to be on the screen. Email. Come on, we got to find you. What do you feel about this stuff? They're controlling your life. Right. You're losing your creative ability.
Yeah. I really do think so. It's a concern.
It is. It is. It's kind of scary. I go back to the Terminator. Schwarzenegger's going to come. They're going to do it, Some nuthead out there is going to, after Arnie passes away, you're going to see Arnie Schwarzenegger's coming around.
Well, okay, so that's it. So you talked about cloning. We talked about the ability...
Well, cloning is the whole
to replicate. Thing. But we're going to combine it. Like you said, we're going to be able to clone using teeth fragments or toenails or something, right, from dead people.
Ooh, Jurassic Park.
Right, okay. And now with our AI stuff, we're going to get their voice right. We're going to get their personality pretty darn close. And we're going to have people that never die because we keep bringing them back. Imagine the really, really rich people, okay? Like the top elite.
Uh-oh, you're going to make me go to the danger zone.
I'm going to the danger zone with you. The really, really elite rich that can afford to do so. Can you imagine them always being around because they've replicated themselves over and over?
Well, certain autocrats come to mind. Mm-hmm. Without saying who they are. We know who they are. Well, Vladimir Putin's one of them. But,
right.
There are other ones in this country who...
have blonde hair.
Who have orange hair and was once in the White House. And that's all I'm going to say. Figure that one out. But yeah, so that's what we're going to have. That's the society we're going to build, and that goes back to the hatred thing. Mm-hmm. It's full circle for me. It's like if you hate people because fill in the blank, they look different. They don't look like you. You don't want them to take over mm-hmm. because you want things to be the way they were 50 years ago when. The power and let's just say white men were in control, okay? You don't want to lose any of that. You're threatened. You're threatened by people coming in this country and, the whole thing with immigration. To me, it's like, hey, if I lived in a country or you lived in a country and I had a family that, were being persecuted and my little girls were being stolen to be put into sex trade and all that, wouldn't you pack up a bag and go march to America?
I would certainly try my hardest, absolutely.
Yeah, so, we need a little bit more sensitivity and understanding of why these things happen now because the whole world has changed. Mm-hmm. It's not like it was in the 50s.
Right. So that raises the point about, equality, right? So we live in a society where everyone is supposed to be equal, but you and I both know that if you are poor or live in more urbanized area, your equality is not the same as a rich person sitting somewhere else. So my water might not be as good. I have less food resources available. My housing situation doesn't look the same across. You know what I mean?
Well, because you can't afford it.
Right. So
that's primarily
I've got a thread I'm following here. So AI is going to become a thing. We're going to have the Richie Rich. I'm going to say Richie Rich himself.
Richie
Do you remember Richie Rich, the little comic book guy? Okay. He's going to say, I have the ability to purchase AI to improve my health, my future. I'm going to live to be 300 because of it, whatever the deal is. And we're just going to create more of a divide amongst people in America because those that have the means to do it versus those that don't have the means to do it. So people are going to get sicker. People are going to get poorer. People are going to lose their homes. The rich are going to get richer. The rich are going to live on.
A further extension of what we have already. So, we don't want to give, not me because, I'm liberal, but a lot of people get angry because they think, the Democrats are all giving away my tax money to help the poor or give them medications, and why don't you go to work and all that
Right.
stuff, Like people don't need help, like it's a freebie society, so the money should be in my pocket. And that's, a lot of people think like that. I'm not, criticizing, I'm saying that goes by the way of, if you don't help other people out, then especially, I go back to what we talked about last time, which was Christianity. If you're a Christian, you should believe in helping others. That's the way, that was Christ's teaching, right? Help them, pick them up, give them money, whatever they need. Whether you were making $1 or an hour or 10 cents an hour, it doesn't matter. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? Helping hand. That doesn't exist, and the society is getting worse. I think it's still a lot of people who do that, but there's a lot of angry people in the world,
Right.
and they don't want to give to the poor or help anybody out. They want you to stay poor. Actually, statistically, okay,
Right.
my eyebrows are going up. Statistically, there is no middle class anymore.
No, I know.
Because the middle class has become below the line.
Correct. And that's, we mentioned fear in our last podcast, and
I'm scared.
we're going to talk about that again. That might just come up every now and then, but with AI, I see even further divide between the lower class and the upper class, and the potential for America to have pockets of third world country. It just, people living in squalor.
Yeah, well, it does still, it exists now.
I know, but just the spreading of it across
Oh yeah.
America.
Well, if the powerful people who have access to AI more readily or whatever use it for personal means, and I go back to the Orange Man, okay? Never really cared about this country. Honestly, put himself before the country. That's what you're going to get. Not caring about anybody else, me first, and that's what this country may become if that happens. I hope not, because I'm a positive person.
I hope we can stay positive. It's just the stories.
Well, we talk about frightening crap here.
Yeah, it's just because there's no regulation right now, because it's a new emerging field and people are just testing the waters. What can it do? Oh, this is cool. I can fake an interview. Oh, I can paint a picture, whatever.
Deceit.
Yeah, it's a setup for, unless we get a handle on it quickly, some real big problems. You want to talk about the issue with who was actually supposed to be president, and the election was rigged.
Oh yeah, that's.
Can you imagine how AI
next
is
time they'll
play?
figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine what they'll do?
That's scary. Yep.
So that's not very positive. That's just fear.
No, but we will when we end, we'll go into some kind of
We'll go somewhere
positive
else.
note, because we do talk about all these crazy things, but they do exist in the world today.
Yeah.
And it's snatched from the headlines. That's the truth.
All right. Well, let's be positive. If you could use AI to do anything for yourself or something to help you with something, how would you use it?
Well, I'm a nostalgic kind of person. So I would probably use AI to generate people who have passed so they could talk to me.
That's cool.
That's what I would do, because I can't think of anything I would use personally, because I don't use any of the gadgets now that would be helpful, the robot vacuum cleaner, or, I like to clean, so I want to do it myself. I can't imagine what that thing is roaming around.
I don't think
And
it
I have
does a very
long curly
good
hair,
job.
it could suck my hair up.
I'm telling you, I saw a picture. It happens.
So that's what I would do. I would be like, oh, I want to talk to Ma today, and Ma will tell me advice.
That's a cool
There you go.
application. I like that.
That's a good one,
That's
right?
a good one. Yeah. Personal use, chat with people.
Yeah, as long as going back to what you said before, if, like Paul McCartney, he disclosed it. Not trying to fake that, oh, I found this song, and he's disclosing that he's using AI to help take the basis of John Lennon's demo and make it into a song. Didn't say anything about George Harrison, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a John Lennon vehicle.
Yeah.
Could be.
I do agree. I'm happy he put that out there up front, so it doesn't
it's the
feel
truth.
like he's trying to slip one by us. So
Yeah, because what we're talking about is people who lie and deceive and use it for their own
Yeah.
reasons.
And it's a choice you make going in. Oh, I know that this was generated by AI or it wasn't. So you have a little more freedom of choice, and it's not deceitful or lying if it's up front.
Right. So that's the benefit is you got, John Lennon, who was a very talented writer, musician, still around. It's like, talking to my relatives.
I like that. I have to say that for me, I really would want the Star Trek beam me up Scotty thing if I could.
Yeah.
Because there's so many places I would love to travel, and traveling's a pain. It's expensive. It takes a lot of planning. And if there were teleport devices planted all over the world, I'd even pay,
That's
like a toll
cool.
booth, whatever. But that you could go and easily travel to visit new places or people or, whatever. I think that would be beneficial to all mankind to be able to move around.
Yeah, well, I was a big Star Trek
Star Trek
freak, the original series.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jim and those guys, But once in a while, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The molecules would get all cuckoo, and they'd show them like appearing and not appearing.
Not there.
And, are they going to come in? What happened?
I guess that's a risk I might take, I suppose. I see. Now, just like our generation gap, I was Star Trek Next Gen, so
You were
they
Next Gen,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had that kind of figured out. And number one was very reliable. He was also very cute. When I was a little girl, I just thought he was just really cute.
Another one that had illegitimate children.
Did he?
Yeah, I think Jim did too.
Oh gosh. Well,
yeah, Jim
I
did
don't
too.
hold that against people.
What are you going to do?
I am not perfect myself, so it's okay. He was a good number one, so that's all that you need.
Yeah, he was a good-looking
Good right
man.
hand.
Still is.
Still
the
is.
actor still is.
Hey, and I love Jean-Luc. He's great too.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
He's awesome. He reads books to you and tells you stories.
Yeah.
And it's not AI, it's him.
It's him, as far as you know.
Yeah, I'll wait till he tells me
There we
this
go.
is AI.
Yeah, I
Anyways.
agree with you. Beaming up stuff. It's strange, It is. It is kind of weird, but I'll go with it. I just hope I land the way I left.
Well, we're getting close. I mean, we've got virtual reality simulators we can apply onto our faces now and be in that.
Have you ever done that?
I have not.
Me
Have you done
neither.
it?
No, I'm an old-fashioned gal.
I think we have to try it.
Generation Gapo.
I think we should challenge ourselves to go
That's it.
and
Maybe
play with that.
we should do that.
We'll do it.
Do that. And we can talk about it.
Okay. We'll do it. I've
Flying things at me. Yeah, that's really good. Probably fall over and hit my head.
Oh, it'll be good. I'll hold her up. Don't worry.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I think we're wrapping up today. Do you have anything on a positive nature to leave us with, Lulu?
Positively positive that this country will be okay. I really feel it in my gut. With all that's going on, with, what we were talking about today is pretty relevant, because if in the next election, Orange Man manipulates, and it's not just him, it's a lot of part of the Republicans who are in control in the House. If they find a way to do that, that might enter in something difficult. But I am really, really positive that there are many more people in this country that want it to be a democracy. Mm-hmm. So that's my positive note.
Okay. I like it.
The right thing will happen.
I like it.
Okay. Whoever that is. I'm not saying who it is. Maybe maybe Orange Guy won't be the nominee. Maybe he'll be in jail and then he can't. Okay, but it's still positive. Hey, I'm positive. How about you?
Let's see. I don't know if I can follow that. That was pretty good. I am positive that I will be very skeptical of AI, and at least in the years to come, that nobody will auto call me and make me think I got to bail my friend Lulu out of jail. I will not fall for that. And I will text you some
I am so glad.
emoticon of a
Well,
jailbird.
we're going to figure out something.
We're gonna come up with a
I'll
code.
text you, like, if I'm really in trouble.
Send me an eggplant
I'm
or
going to
something.
yeah, we'll come up with a code.
That's it.
I can't say it now because who
Yeah,
knows?
you guys can't be
We'll come up with
knowing our
something.
code.
That means help me.
See, AI is not going to get the better of me.
All right, excellent.
All right, I think that's it.
Okay, shall we say it?
Let's say it.
She's done.